Welcome to the Ryan Holtz Show. On this show, you can expect the latest, the greatest, and the best curated content on business, marketing, automotive, and lifestyle. Sit back, put in your earplugs, and let's enjoy the ride. Now, as always, I want to make sure you get the best in content that will help you monster your goals, both personally and professionally. I want to keep this conversation going, so please check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope at Ryan Holtz 1. And then go over to facebook.com/Ryan Holtz Marketing, and we can chat there too. I also want you to visit www.ryanholtz.ca, as this will be where I put my almighty beloved show notes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am proud to bring you the Ryan Holtz Show. Let the beat drop and enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ryan Holtz Show, episode 16. And because we're going to be talking about Gary Vaynerchuk, we might have to say, Glen, the show. I'm here with Glen Zubia Jr. He is an influencer, graphic designer, and an e-commerce merchant from El Paso, Texas. What up, Texas? My goodness, with all the hurricanes and stuff, it's been, many prayers and thoughts go out to that. But Glen's best known for his YouTube channel, Hustler Hacks, which has generated over 30,000 subscribers and 3 million views. After graduating from college in 2009, Glen went to work as a full-time graphic designer, but struggled to make minimum payments on his debts. Oh, yes, that's entrepreneurship usually thrives from that. With over $50,000 of combined student loan, car loan, and credit card debt, he knew it was time for a big change. He began buying items at thrift stores and garage sales to resell on sites like eBay and Amazon. In about a year, income from his side hustle, quote unquote, had surpassed his salary. His story has been published in popular websites such as US News and World Report and Clark.com. Glen has sold products on various platforms, including eBay, Etsy, Fulfillment, and blah, blah, blah. It's going to all be in the show notes. Glen, welcome to the show, my friend.
Wow, what an intro. That's the way Ryan does it. That's what I like. I like those long intros.
You know what? And I like the intro. I think your story is really compelling, and thanks again for coming on the show. I mean,
thanks for having me.
I don't even know. I came across you. I'm in Canada, but I do follow Gary Vaynerchuk's channel, and it's kind of interesting. I emailed Gary about, I would have to say, 4 or 5 years ago before I started my own company. I was working at the dealership, and he got back to me. But anyways, there's a long story behind that, and I watch his channel from time to time, and then all of a sudden I seen there was this $10,000 little challenge kind of thing that was set up. And anyways, I'm watching 1-2 videos, and then all of a sudden I'm checking out Glen. And Glen, I got to give you props, man, because before I even caught you on that channel, I was Googling about like e-commerce selling, eBay selling. I think there's another guy like eBay Kirk. There's a few, kind of influencers in that whole e-commerce selling ecosystem. And then all of a sudden you came up, and the one thing I really loved about you, and I know again, it's you're building value. It's kind of that 5 jabs and a right hook is, your videos were all about trying to help other people sell on that. So before we get into everything, man, what do you want to say, and how are you?
I'm doing good, and thanks for having me on the show. I'm super, super pumped. I'm so glad you asked me. So I don't know. I feel like we're going to have a lot of good content for this show.
We're going to have great content, and, we got some talking points here and whatnot. And but anyways, I remember when I was watching the video, because you kind of did like a little vlog style video. I think the one thing that really, I really like you, and I've never met you in person, but, through the screen, I call it that like mental ownership, kind of that digital EQ, emotional intelligence. Yeah. But you basically said, my wife and I were going to go and buy, I don't know if it was a new car or a down payment on a house or something like that, but you basically said, I took $10,000 of that money and said, I want to reinvest it back into myself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Talk about that. And props to your wife. That's support, man. That is support.
I know. That's why I love her so much, because she just, she supports me in everything that I want to do. And she totally understands, making these trips. And I've gone to different places lately, Dallas and Seattle, different conferences, and trying to get some speaking opportunities out there too. And she's been totally supportive about it. And this one was more of like a no-brainer. I mean, she totally understood where I was coming from. And I figured, why not learn from someone that has already done it, like Gary? And I guess right now with internet, there's so many, people that pretend they know everything, they know what's going on. But Gary has proven it. He knows what he's doing, knows what he's talking about. So when the opportunity came up, I mean, it was just like a no-brainer for me to really reinvest this money.
Well, and that's, that's a good point you make. And I mean, how do you go about kind of, filtering out, the trenches of, the con artists on the internet, and there's a lot of them, and then the people that are actually, I call it like the con artists, and then I call it like the con artists, like subtle con artists, meaning like, they're kind of like, well, I don't want to sell you anything, and they're trying to give you value, but all they're trying to do is sell you something. And then you got the genuine people that are like, I want to sell you some stuff, and I also want to help you along the way, which I have no problem. Everybody has to make $1, and that's where the authenticity comes in. So what about Gary? Like, and I mean, I follow his stuff. I'm familiar with him. What about him for you though? And I know we could go to Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and eBay challenges and all that. And there's a million reasons why you like him. But what's one thing that resonated for you based on your own personal situation that you felt, look, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to get a 10 times return on it, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, for me, what Gary brings is, he just attracts attention. And that was like my biggest thing. How do you bring in eyeballs and people to pay attention to you, your channel, your brand? Right now there's so much going on the internet, and Gary has done that. And at the same time, I really wanted to get into like public speaking, getting my name out there, going to different events. And that was one of the main things that I talked to Gary about, was that. And during our event, he talked and sat with us for quite a while after, during lunch and everything. And that was one of the main things that I wanted to talk to him, is just, getting attention and eventually doing more speaking events and kind of like what he did and what kind of advice he could give me. So that's really what brought me in as far as like taking my brand, on a different direction and really growing it.
Well, and I think that's pretty cool. I did see the video there, and I gotta give you props. You took the $10,000 and you ran with it, because man, you were asking loads of questions, and I think you guys were sitting in the boardroom there around a table or something like that. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Because I could hear while it was being filmed, you were on the mic and killing it. So your wife's probably like, listen, man, if you're taking $10,000, you better make sure it's worth it. So,
I know.
Okay, so you wanted to kind of expose your brand through public speaking. Why do you think that venue is so important to kind of generating awareness for you?
Well, one of the main reasons why I wanted to really boost up my YouTube channel, well, actually before getting into that, I started the YouTube channel because I found success reselling, and I wanted to help others that were also in student loan debt, and that's what I like about you too, Ryan, is you're not one of these college guys, because, for sure we're not college guys going to support it. Obviously, I do have an education, but I would give totally different advice now about going to college, but that's a totally different subject. Anyway, I really wanted to help those people that were in a similar situation as me, looking to see how they could bring in more money, side hustles, paying off student loans. And I thought this was really going to be important for me, because eventually I do want to travel and go to these places to give talks, especially with, students right now in college, and how important it is to know how much you owe after this. What are you going to do after college? Are you going to start your brand? You should start building your brand, right now in college. I know it's tough with, homework and projects and everything, but trying to give advice too on seeing what people want to do and just taking it a totally different way, because I remember I was promised all these different things in college, and it just totally was not like that.
Yeah. You know what though? I mean, and I know you're not too aware of kind of my background, but my whole mandate, my thesis literally is, I come from very humble beginnings, and huge sports background. Sports really football for me was huge. It saved my life. I got a scholarship and, really kind of gave me, my mom passed away at a young age, which was a single mom. But still, took me up until I was 13 years old, gave me really good fundamentals in terms of work and just ethics and things like that. And, I love her for that. And she's my number one fan always. But, I really feel that when you, like here in Canada, I don't know if you guys call, but, grade 7 to 9 for us is junior high, and then grade 10 to 12 is high school. We say that. And, just the way a teacher told me once, and I do speak at a lot of schools, a teacher told me, Ryan, there's no difference when you graduate high school. You're like literally like a car part in a factory. And I was just like, interesting. You got your student ID number and you're a car part that just got pushed through the assembly line. And now you're supposed to be a good girl or a good boy or whatever you are and go to post-secondary or college. And then get that piece of paper and then you're going to be shown the world. And my friends, and I mean, anybody out there, listen, post-secondary in college is a business, front and center. And I feel that the world is we've been really molded to think, almost one way, and we have to go down this path and down this path and down this path. And it's complete BS. It really is complete BS. So you have to kind of take your own destiny into your own hands and think, hey, what do I want to do and where do I go? And I know, again, Gary says that a lot. He says, hey, self-awareness. And self-awareness is the ticker. So, I mean, for you, was there kind of a light bulb moment where you said, I don't know, like I'm going down this path and this is not going to bring me to where I want to go, either where I want to go or, in terms of the timeline that you gave yourself? Was there a moment?
Yeah, there was definitely a moment to where, well, of course, financial wise, it was definitely a huge moment because I was drowning in these loans and I was like, how am I going to do this? Like this, I mean, it really started to build up and I was, I got that salary job that, students want right after college. I got that job. I was a graphic designer. And then eventually I moved up to a marketing coordinator.
Yeah.
And I was just, oh man, I was working hard. I was putting in a lot of hours and, I was like, man, I really need to find something else to not only help me mentally go through some different things to kind of like, have some different goals and mindset and everything, but to get me out of this financial, I don't know, I was just in this different rut right now. And I was struggling to kind of save up. Like $500 was like hard for me to get. And because I was paying like the student loans, car loans, a credit card, which I was paying books. I mean, I owed so much money in books still. Yeah. And I was like, man, how am I going to do this? And I had sold on eBay a little bit before, but I wasn't totally serious about it. And I had a friend in high school and he was going to get married soon. And he was like, have you ever thought about going to garage sales and selling stuff? He was a little bit into eBay too. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we just start going to garage sales at 5 a.m. this Saturday? And he's like, yeah, let's go. He needed money. I needed money. And we started it and we started going every single Saturday. And I loved it and he loved it. We just kept going and going and going and it just kept growing. And eventually, I mean, that money, that side hustle was more than I was making at the university I was working at. And I was like, yeah, I know it's time. If I'm going to put in so many man hours into something, it needs to be for myself and for my own brand and to grow that rather than something else that I don't really believe in.
When did you start your YouTube channel?
So I started about like 6 years ago, I think. And then I kind of gave up on it because I was like, I had slow internet. It was taking me forever to upload. And I was like, man, this sucks. And I was like, what am I going to do now? Like I started making a couple of videos here and there. And I was like, it was kind of growing. I think even at that time I had like maybe like 2,000 subscribers or something. So it was somewhat growing. And then I just kind of stopped and I started focusing more on this side hustle part because I wasn't really doing any of that yet. And it was kind of, a lot to balance. And I was like, well, I really need to focus here. I need to pay off these loans. I really need to do this. And then when I was done, then I went back into the YouTube channel. I changed the name to Hustler Hacks. And I was like, now I'm going to start this brand. I have a story to tell. And I really think I can help people now that I've been through it. And that's really what happened after that.
And are you because I was looking at like, are you on LinkedIn as Glen?
I am mostly because I had some stuff for the family business, but I really don't check it too much.
Sure.
I think mostly like on Instagram and And YouTube is probably the ones I use the most.
Yeah, you do. And then I guess too, like, so you started, basically, I mean, great businesses are started off of a need, right? And you need to get out of debt, right?
Yeah.
And that's, that gives you some, a sense of motivation. But again, a lot of people out there, especially if you're going to go talk to college students and things like that, people always say, like, even for myself, right? So I'm 33 years old now. Mm-hmm. This is the second in the last 10 years, sorry. I've only been employed by an employer for 1 year. So I sold my first company, was really good, worked for a dealership, did some really cool things. Short story on that dealership is we became the first dealership ever to be featured alongside Barack Obama by Twitter. And that kind of gave me a lot of press. So then I transferred over into my own company called Ryan Holtz Marketing. And it's interesting because people said, why did you call it Ryan Holtz Marketing? And why didn't you call it like maybe some fancy name or something like that? And, I do live by one thing. And I think that, people should never go out and work for their first name. Always work for your last name. So my last name is 5 letters and it means the world to me. My son has that name. My wife has that name. But I wanted to always make my company feel that you could just say, hey, Ryan, how's it going? There's not a lot of bureaucracy. You don't have to go through a lot of channels. People message me directly. I reach out to them directly. And I've really managed to maintain this business. And, it's went from, doing good to it's amazing. We're full in capacity, but it's Ryan Holtz Marketing. So for you, have you ever battled with, you got Glen, Zubia, and then you got Hustler Hacks. I love Hustler Hacks, but Hustler Hacks is irrelevant because Glen's what puts the hustler into hacks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you are the brand. At the end of the day, you are the brand. So your brand name might change. Hustler Hacks could be changed, but it's always going to be Glen Zubia Jr. who's the man. You're the brand. Yeah. So have you thought of that?
I've thought about that too, and some people. It is kind of funny though on maybe the way they ask me questions, or if they see me or they ask me stuff. Mr. Hacks sometimes is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I guess because I wanted to kind of build a brand off of that, and I felt like if it was something kind of catchy. I mean, my name sometimes isn't like hard to. I don't know, it isn't really that easy to pronounce sometimes. And then not only that, my dad has, of course, I'm Junior, so my dad has the same name. Sure. So then locally, sometimes even with the family business, they're like, who am I talking to? Junior or senior or something? Yeah. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to come up with something kind of catchy, and I'm going to build up the brand through, social media and Instagram and YouTube and call it Hustler Hacks, and eventually kind of like branch off into other things related to money saving, money making, motivational type of things. And that's really what I really want to take it to, and it's getting there. But that was kind of like my vision, I guess, when I came up with the name.
So what? So you went to and met Gary. When was that around again? Sorry, I can't really remember. What month and year would that have been?
That's a good question. Even I'm trying to.
Yeah, I can't remember when that video was. I mean, I know it wasn't a long time ago, but I know it's been a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably like 3 months ago. I think it's when the video came out. Yeah.
So let me ask you this then. So Glen Hustler Hacks then says, "Okay, I'm taking 10,000. I'm gonna go meet Gary." What has been an immediate change since you actually walked in there and went through that experience that you without a doubt say, wow, literally like overnight, this is what's changed for me?
Well, I guess for me, it would be just what it takes to, bring in attention and figure out how to bring in eyes and everything. I've seen, a lot of growth from my channel. I think during that time, I was at like 20,000 subs, and now I'm like at 32,000 subs, and it's growing a lot more. And I figured out just some things and some ways to be different that I think maybe I didn't really think about before.
Such as what? Like, give me an example.
Well, like I've noticed that on YouTube, a lot of people are really doing a lot more live videos. YouTube loves live, and they're really, really pushing for that. And I've noticed that a lot of people aren't really kind of figuring how to be creative on it. They're just kind of doing a live show, cool. I'll talk to the audience for an hour. I can put in some ads, throw some ads in there in the middle, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And in my end, I was like, how do I be different? What can I do? So I started doing like teaser trailers. I started doing like, I have a new thing that is going to come out, kind of like a mini series on my channel. Yeah. So it's going to be, some of these episodes are like 40 minutes long. Me and another friend, Ken, and we went out to different cities to go find stuff to resell for eBay and Amazon. So I was like, well, everybody's kind of stuck doing the live stuff. I want to do some trailers. I want to do something different. I want to do a mini series and do my own, my own thing on the channel instead of just kind of being the same like everybody else. So some social media things that I think even on Instagram too, that really helped me just kind of grow. And I started to do like small little snippets of video, 15-second video, 30-second video, and things that didn't take me very long to do, but things I didn't really think about before I went in, and to really see the numbers and to see what people are looking at on Instagram and Facebook. And they broke all of that stuff down. When I was talking to Gary, I have like a full binder of like 300 pages to kind of go through to look for resources. But that was probably the biggest thing for me. And it's going to take time. I understand that, but I'm extremely patient. And I love doing, all of these, doing all the platforms, everything that I'm doing right now.
Now, would you consider yourself, because obviously, again, you've put in a lot of effort into yourself and your personal brand and invested back into yourself. A lot of people out there, they have that, fear to either run a podcast or to open up a YouTube channel or to be on live video or to stand up and speak. I mean, these are all like huge fear factors for the average person. So were you somebody that came out of the gate, you were born and Glen was like a showman? Or were you shy at first? Or is this something you learned how to cultivate? Or is this a natural it factor for you? Like, how are you just this? I mean, it's funny too, because I think, I'm still, you're, how old are you? 31, 30?
31. 31.
So me and you are considered kind of like older millennials now, right? If we're gonna hit that 35 age bracket. But I think what shocks me is I hold myself to a level that is like out of this world, because I still meet people our age who are living at like their mom's house, and they're like, I know. They're doing nothing. Like they're paying rent and whatnot. You know what I mean? And for me, I think the light bulb moment for me was, if I go back years ago, 21 years old, I'll never forget this. In between seasons, I had a job, and I was actually worked in insurance, and I was making literally $31,000 a year, and I worked my butt off in this job, and I knew I was going to get my year-end review. And my boss looked at me at the time, and this statement it makes me just crazy talking about it. I mean, I already start sweating, I'm irritation, the boss, But anyways, 21 years old, year-end review comes, and he says, I really loved your work, Ryan. I'm going to increase your salary from 31 to 33,000. Holy smoke, $2,000. And that doesn't even take into consider inflation. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, what the hell? That was my light bulb moment. And I literally sat down and I crunched the numbers and I said, okay, what's my goal? It literally would have taken me till I was about 59 years old working at a job. I hit that goal by the time I was 27 years old, 6 years later. Man. Now, yes, people always talk about that. But when I tell, like, you have to be obsessed with success. Like, you have to be obsessed with the journey and the work and the work habit, and just kind of implementing those things daily for you. So for you have that clearly. Is there something that you don't reveal to your general audience that is something that is kind of holds you back, or something you have to fight through on a day-to-day basis? Because we all see the YouTube, we see the hustler hacks, we see the humor, we see the fun, we see the work ethic, but what's the dirt? Like, what's on the flip side of all that?
I just try to be as open and honest as possible, because I mean, of course, you're going to get like internet trolls, you're going to get random comments, you're going to get all this stuff thrown at you. And if I put myself out there, I just figure, I'm giving honest advice. And there's a lot of people too that I met them in person and they're like, man, I really feel like I already know you. Not only from just watching your channel, but just meeting you in person, you're the exact same way you are in the channel. And I was like, I wouldn't want to be anybody else. I don't know how to be anybody else. So I was like, so that's exactly what I want it to be. It's just authentic. I am who I am. And meeting everybody in person is really, really cool. And it's crazy when you really sit and talk to people and you get to hear the impact you've made on their lives. And that really changes things for me. I mean, that's better than any of the money that I've made. Even getting a degree. I love hearing people succeed from my advice or channel or words. That's huge. It's something that not a lot of people get to experience.
Well, and I think that's kind of the key there, and I mean, you're transparent, and yeah, you're just somebody that's like, you have that personal touch to you. Even on your YouTube channel and stuff, like there's some, you obviously got the Casey Neistats and you got the, there's so many like great YouTubers out there, but there's a lot of YouTubers that, get some serious viewership and it's too scripted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Philip DeFranco or whatever. And, he's somebody that goes out and he's got his whole little studio there. Casey Neistat I love because I feel like it's not scripted at all.
Totally.
Gary Vaynerchuk, not scripted at all. I mean, he's literally, and it seems that vlog has opened up doors for him because would you say, watching him and kind of, following him and then actually meeting him in person, he was almost like identical?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's the small, loud little man that you know and love.
How tall is he, by the way? I was wondering that.
Yeah, I think I'm like 5'9", so he's maybe like 5'7", 5'6".
Really?
Yeah. Oh. He's not super tall at all. So and he's super thin. Obviously, he's different from the fat Gary that people make fun of. Yeah, he's totally different from the fat Gary. He's totally in shape now. But his personality and being loud and everything that that's exactly how it is in real life.
So from that whole experience, what would you say, like, just something that's, meeting him, you got some good value and all these things. I know you have to watch kind of what you say and whatnot, but is there one thing that you just kind of like stood out, or one or two things that you just, even if like when you went home and you said to your wife, like, and your wife obviously said like, how was it? Was there any like weird things that you just kind of pointed out that she would have said like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, or really, that's what you noticed? Like, was there any kind of like interesting, moments?
I guess that's only a bad thing too, because I get so many people that want to ask me certain questions. I can only say like so much because I signed like 3 waivers. Yep. But as far as like, I know the attention thing for one. Number 2 is just seeing like just how hard his company, everyone in the company that works for him, like D-Rock, man, they do amazing stuff for him. It's crazy. They're quick, they're fast, they know what they're doing. You're talking about people that are clearly with him and his vision. They trust in him. Yeah. And those things are like, wow, like this is, this is what it's supposed to feel like. And when you work for somebody, and totally going back to like your story of making like 31,000, that's almost exactly what happened with me. Unfortunately, when you were 21, I was making that same amount of money years later. It's still at 31,000. And yeah. So forget about inflation stuff. But almost the exact same thing happened to me when I was like, I was going to get a raise, and I got that 2% raise. And I'm like, man, like how long is this? What am I supposed to do? How long does this take? What's going on? Now, once I got like a 4th manager, I had like my 4th boss now. I was like, yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to be following another person, listening to another person how to do stuff and finding, all these people in command and everything. That was also, of course, like a light bulb, like you talked about. But sorry to go back. Gary V, as far as like that thing goes, his workers, how they trust in him, that was like a huge, huge thing. And to really see what a leader is supposed to look and feel like, I didn't really feel like I had that in certain places that I've worked too, and the sense of like direction and trust and people. And at the same time, I was like, man, how many people work here? Like there's like 2 full floors of workers. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, how do you manage all these people? And everyone just has like that same vision and trust. And of course, not everybody wants to build their own brand, but if they certainly wanted to, Gary supports them in anything that they want to do. And And a lot of people that you see in his vlog, I was able to meet them, and they were just totally what you would see in his vlog too. So really just authentic, the same way.
Did you find any kind of what about, because he even says a lot. I mean, he says a lot, and he talks about how people say, he's like a polarizing personality, and but you can tell like he's all about giving. Did you sense any kind of arrogance at all within his staff or agency? Or because I always say, like, so it's kind of weird, like, there's ones and twos in life, right? So it's like, one, you're running it, right, and two, maybe you're a really good, like, second person, you're second at bat. But sometimes I find, like, the lower down the totem pole, like, you'll get somebody that's like really arrogant because, like, yo, man, I'm kind of like his fifth right hand person. Did you get any of that? Or everybody's pretty much, hey, like, we're all cool, we're all kind of jiving to the same beat?
Yeah, everyone seemed to be kind of on the same page. And not only that, everyone kind of knows how to do different programs and platforms and manage different things. So it's like, there is no one person that you would really rely on. So like everyone knows what, someone's not there. Cool. Next person knows what to do. Like,
yeah.
And that's
multidisciplined, eh?
Oh yeah. They know exactly the vision. They know exactly what to do. And that really, really impressed me too on everything that he's talked about. And that's exactly how they are.
So where are you at in 18 months? A lot of people ask the question, what's your goal in 5 years? 5 years, man, this whole world could be weird. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. I mean, 3 years, we're moving at the speed of light, right? I don't know. Are you an iPhone or an Android guy?
iPhone.
Were you just watching that launch of the iPhone X right now, right before we hopped on this?
I was actually answering some comments on YouTube.
Good for you, man. I was watching that event, but I just think about technology. You have to watch the live event a little bit though. Like the guy when he was actually introducing the Face ID, and he butchered the first demo. It was actually kind of awkward. So I'm a day trader, so I have Apple stock. So I was watching the stock just drop, and the moment he messed up, the stock literally dropped. I would say probably about 3%. So, anyways, but where do you see yourself in 18 months?
That's a good question. 18 months, definitely. I want to be doing, new things with the channel. The growth right now on the channel has been really, really good. I know that everyone kind of says like, well, it's not about the numbers or about subscribers, but I mean, really, if no one's watching you, that it's going to be really, really tough. You get into like a weird mindset too if you don't get a lot of different viewers you're expecting of something. So for me, I guess in 18 months, I would definitely do more traveling, more speaking parts, and personally, maybe even a child, because I recently got married, and so I think also part of my family, I think, is of course extremely important. So I think maybe I even have my first child.
Congratulations, man! That's great. Yeah. That's great. We have a 10-month-year-old, so we had our first child.
Nice.
His name's Dejan. That's our son, and I'll tell you right now, man. Once you have children, and then you're in business, and then oh my goodness,
I know
it's beautiful, but it's just beautiful, and he gives you a whole new, like parents always say this, but it really is true. There's a whole different motivation behind it, right?
Yeah, totally.
18 months. I mean, those are good goals. What do you think are some? I like to ask people this, but what are the tools you need to be successful? So I look at like 30,000 subscribers, 3 million views. YouTube is something that's one toolbox I have. I've really procrastinated on, not because I'm not doing anything, just because I have other mediums that I feel like work so good for me. And I know YouTube is powerful, but it's just it becomes a time management issue, right?
Yeah.
And I'll throw up a video and then I'm kind of like, oh, should I do that and then not do that? And it's crazy, man. Like it's so weird when YouTube. I would have to say, man, maybe I've never said this before out loud, but I would have to say YouTube might be a fear for me, not in the sense of video and like putting a camera on myself, because I do all that all the time. Just in the sense of like a platform that maybe I haven't got entirely romantic with. I watch it and I consume it, but I just look at it. So like people out there who are saying, I did another podcast and I basically said to people, I want everybody in 2017 to close out the year just trying to expose a little bit more of themselves, whether it is audio format, whether it's popping a video, whether it's, doing a 15-second Instagram video or something like that. Just like, don't be so afraid to come out of your shell. Like, actually try to expose yourself. So for you, like, if you can even go back to when you had like 0 views, or you threw up a video and it got like 25 views, like, how did you, was it, because I always wonder, like, is it a balance of, oh my God, nobody's viewing my video, I suck and my content is horrible, or it's like, yo, dude, you got to pay that, you got to work for it, you got to be consistent and just keep uploading, so to speak. Like Casey Neistat said it, right? He's like, just keep uploading, man. But then I'm like, if your stuff is whack, like, don't keep uploading. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. And,
so,
and
like,
for me,
you got a good handle on it. So, like, how do you help somebody out? Like, what do you say to them?
So in the very beginning, I mean, when I had like barely any views, I was doing the same thing. Like, I was starting off, I started to record myself, and I was like, you know what, this is stupid. Like, I sound stupid, I look stupid, I don't even know if this is gonna work, right? And and that happens to everybody in the very beginning, because you're just like, is this even good? You know, what is this? And so what I did was, I didn't tell anybody that I was gonna do a YouTube channel. I didn't tell my friends, I didn't tell my family. And even to this, I mean, I think when that article came out, there was another one that came out recently. About 2 weeks ago, I actually had family members that are like, I had no clue you were doing this. And I was like, yeah, because I didn't tell anybody. I just figured that if I don't tell anybody, I do my own thing, I want to build it up, then these people will let me know, people that I don't know will let me know if I'm good or not. And my family, not all of them are the friends. They're not always going to tell you the best advice or give you the truth. You're like, oh, that's so cute, you're doing YouTube videos, I love it. But really deep and down, like, your videos suck. So I was like, I can't have that. Like, I need to know if it's good or not. So I just kept on. I was being, for one, super consistent. I just put myself to 1 video a week. As long as I do 1, let's see what happens and test that out and see if I get some type of traction or something grows. And then I'll listen to the feedback if it's, good feedback as far as like things I need to work on. And at the same time, I'll just keep going, keep plugging away. But I really want to improve, and I really want to hear it from people that don't know me and will give me the truth. Interesting.
So basically, you were consistent though, where you're like, I'm going to take this one step at a time, and keep
1 video a week.
1 video a week, and that was the goal. And then roughly production time, how, like including shooting and editing, how long are you putting into them?
So I think when I first kind of started, it was kind of tough for me because I needed to find a way to get quicker at it. So I started off with just like the iPhone, and I got like the iMovie app, and I was like, I'm just going to do quick edits, get something out there using the app to where I'm not spending a lot of time on it. It wasn't until really I started to build an audience that I was like, let me incorporate some vlogging in here and try to figure out how I can be really creative in my space. And I love editing. I love doing that stuff. It really lets me to kind of get like a creative outlet. So I figured, I can spend more time on it. I have like an audience. I know what they kind of like and what I like to do, of course, and build that up. And it took some time to really do that. But in the very beginning, I was like, let me just use my phone, a quick app, do some quick edits. I'm not going to teach myself how to learn some other stuff too, like Final Cut Pro and things like that yet, until I can really get comfortable on camera and get an audience and do that. So that's probably my advice for everybody too, just starting off small. Everybody has a smartphone. Do that in the beginning and do some quick edits. We have some pretty cool apps in there now that weren't there 4 or 5 years ago that would definitely get some quicker edits in there, and do that and just be super consistent and have a goal too on what you like. I mean, if you don't like what you're doing, and if you're making videos because you want to make money or you want to be famous, then it's not going to work for you. You have to do what you love. And in my case, it's about finding items to resell, eBay, Amazon, making money, saving money. And not everybody is into that. I'm not like I'm doing pranks or beauty vlogs or anything like that. So it's kind of like a smaller niche, but I want to master that niche. And it's something that I love to do. So I know I'll never get bored. And like Gary Vee says, you're going to love the process. And that's exactly what I do. I love doing YouTube and all the other platforms that I'm selling on.
So now that you're selling, you're up and running, do you sustain a full-time income from it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can definitely do. I help out with my family business like 12, 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
And really because, of course, I love my family. I want to support them. But at the same time, when I quit my job at the university, I told them, you can give me a pay cut, pay me way less. I just want to have something just in case, anything I can kind of fall back on to keep this on the side, some side money, because I really wanted to get married, get a house, do all these things. So I kind of left that there for me for a little while. I was also able to pay the loans. And then meanwhile, I was able to grow eBay, Amazon, some money from YouTube and all of that. And I can reinvest that money into what I'm already doing. And of course, the house and everything. So it was kind of a mixture of that. But as far as now, most of the money, a small percentage comes from that. But most of it is from YouTube, eBay, and Amazon.
Good for you, man. And you're doing somewhere between 5 and 10K a month reselling items on eBay and Amazon.
Yeah, so eBay and Amazon, reselling wise, they're kind of different because fulfillment by Amazon, you can send in products and then they ship it from their warehouse. eBay, shipping items every week, and then there's merch by Amazon, which with my graphic design background, I create designs, upload them to merch, and then Amazon, it's pretty much like a print on demand. So they'll make my designs, they'll print it on shirts, they'll ship it to the customer, and they handle all of that, and then I get a royalty. So in between that and YouTube, right now I'm between like 8 to 10,000 profit a month. Yep. I'm trying to get to like that 15 to 18 profit a month. And I know that's going to take some more time, effort, and probably some outsourcing too on some of the smaller stuff.
And then so how many items would you walk us through your day? Like, so you wake up in the morning, assuming you're not doing your family business that day or however you have it set up. What time are you waking up? Because I'm a visual person. So when somebody tells me a story I love the story. I'm a marketer at heart and I love storytelling. So walk us through your day, man. Like this podcast is designed for you to be completely self-centered and egotistical crazy. Okay. Like don't hold back, but just say, yo, man, describe your day.
All right. So I usually get up at like 5:30. I go to the gym first thing in the morning. When I come back from the gym, then I usually go to the family business for I try to do 3-4 hours. And part of that is I do different designs for different people. So I'm usually working on logos or t-shirt designs or something for different clients during that time.
Now, this is the family business, right?
Yeah, that's a family business.
What is your family business?
It's called Badgeworks Plus. So they do awards, trophies, plaques.
Oh, interesting.
And then freelance. I started to do graphic design once I quit my university job. So we added graphic design to the arsenal of what they already do. And I started to do designs for different companies locally and also around the U.S.
Cool,
so,
man.
Yeah. So I started to do more design. And I'll usually do that from 8 to 12. And then once it's lunchtime, then I go to the post office. I'm gonna drop off all of my eBay sales from the day before.
Yeah.
Drop that off to the post office and everything. And then once I come back here to the house, now I got to figure out, okay, am I going to work on this week's videos or next week's videos? I try to get YouTube videos 2 weeks in advance. You never know. You might get sick.
Yep.
Something happens. I want to keep that consistency in there. So I'll start editing videos. If videos seem to be I'm doing kind of good, all right, cool, I can leave that for a little bit. Then I'll start working on designs for merch by Amazon so I can get those up and running. And then if I'm somewhat good on there, maybe I can do eBay. If for eBay, I'll either go out sourcing, go find stuff to resell, or I need to stay in and just straight up list. Take a bunch of pictures, list all of these items, which was my day yesterday. And I did that from maybe 3 to 8 p.m. or something, full pictures, listings, all of that stuff. And I'm pretty much working. I mean, for the rest of I try to just get everything organized. What are the things I need to do? What are the goals I need to reach? And I have all of that. I'm pretty much working, for the rest of the night. I say working, but I mean, it feels awesome. But even then, after sometimes from 12, if maybe I need to go buy some groceries, maybe I need something around the house, I have that freedom.
Yeah.
And that's what I love most of all, is just having the freedom to, hey, I need to get this done. Cool. Need to get a haircut. Cool. Need to wash the car. I can go do that right now. And then I can go do sourcing. And that's really what the full day, just me balancing different platforms to make sure everything is set for like, the next 2 weeks or
and
so.
By sourcing, you mean basically going and shopping for some deals that you can then turn around and resell.
Yeah, totally.
Interesting. Now, what do you think? Because, I mean, you're diversified, and we'll get into that because diversification of income, I mean, that's really cool. So, I mean, I love your story because I still think at the end of the podcast, people will be like, what the hell does this guy do? But that's what's beautiful about it, right? I mean, it's kind of entrepreneurship. Like, it's not a job title. It's a way of living. It really is a lifestyle. It's really weird. I like LinkedIn a lot sometimes. You don't do LinkedIn. You do a little bit, yes, but not much. A little bit, right?
Yeah, but not much.
LinkedIn is, I would give you the advice. Don't shut that one down. I think LinkedIn, for me personally, it's interesting. Like, I think LinkedIn has been used as, a lot of people call it like a brag wall online resume, but LinkedIn's powerful. But this morning I woke up and I was thinking, I'm actually in the shower and I'm just standing there, and people are always talking about entrepreneurship and success and all this. These are all relative terms. I mean, success, might mean something different to you than to me, and that's okay. But success to me, flat out, is this: if you can truly say, I can wake up and choose whatever the F I want to do with my time, you got it, brother. Sorry,
yeah, exactly.
Because your time is when you die. Like, your hustle hacks and your eBay and Amazon and all these, sitting pieces and your laptop and your editing and your video gear, maybe you're going to request that it's thrown in the casket with you or burned with you, however you're choosing to go. But it all is irrelevant. It's interesting because the things that are so relevant to you right now are actually irrelevant, but they're actually very relevant because it allows you to enjoy your journey a bit better. And I think people just don't understand, like, your time is so valuable. It's just so valuable. And I'll tell you this, man. And once you guys decide to have a child, I'll tell you straight up, November 2nd, my son was born. He's coming up to 1 year now, 2 months away kind of thing. But when you as a father, and I'll speak to the fathers on this because yes, we're all equal. Women are going to work, but even walking through the whole process and journey of having a child as a new father, I felt like it was still geared more towards the females, because even seeing the doctors and things like that, a lot of them were like, "Oh, that's so cool that you're here, Ryan. Like, you've been a part of the process from day one." A lot of times the dads are out working, but I have seen my son every day as much as he wants to see me, and I can choose to see him the way I want to see him. And I'm telling you right now, man, if I had a job, I would not be able to do that. So thank God for entrepreneurship. But I'm telling you, I always say, when you file your taxes and it says, how much money did you make? What was your gross? And then take the expenses. What was the profit? You got to tack on a lot more money for the flexibility of your time.
Yeah, totally. And
So, I mean, what do you think of all that? Because that you're mentioning the little things. I'm taking my car to the wash. I'm going to get a haircut. Yeah. Maybe I want to surprise my wife. Maybe I want to. You just have that option and the flexibility, but you're also saying, whatever I do now, I still got a lot of work on the backload. So if I don't do it now, it's still waiting for me.
Yeah, that's never gonna go away. And also with the audience, they're like, dude, what happened to this guy? Like, he's not even uploading any videos.
Yeah,
and so that happens. You know what I mean? But I think what's really important, what you kind of touched on too, is just that, like with your son, like, he could listen to this podcast. He can see the success that you've made through different outlets. We don't know, of course, how YouTube, Instagram, podcasts, how they're going to be viewed later on. But we have this on record, and that's something that your son can see, and eventually my child can see or hear, and like, hey, my dad did this and did that, and I felt really, really stuck when I was in the office job, that I really wasn't leaving, I guess, anything behind. Like, it was just kind of like, well, I worked, I made money, and that's it. And not only that, I didn't have any flexibility. Like, I can only get off whenever someone lets me get off of work or ask for vacation time or do something. And it just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I could do this forever. You know, it was just like, I don't know. It was just a weird feeling. And that's what I like, though. It's just kind of like leaving that behind for, you know, your kids and your kids' kids, and they can see everything that you've done and the work that you've put into it.
You know what? It's interesting too. It's funny because we hop on these podcasts, and it's fun. I got, you know, my podcast is about a year old. You know, I haven't been as consistent as I should be. But if you kind of know the background, I mean, my story, like, it makes sense because I'm consistent with all these other things. But my podcast was, even when I announced it to my audience, you know, in my blog and things like that, you know, I said to people, I said, my podcast is going to be completely, like, unedited, completely just real talk. And a lot of people say this. And, you know, I've even had tons of sponsors come at me and say, hey, Ryan, I'd love to sponsor your show. My business and my clients is in automotive, and automotive is big business, you know, Ford, Toyota, all these companies. But, you know, the podcast for me, you're right. It literally was. It's so funny because at first, you remember when email marketing was big? That stuff blows now. I mean, less than 2% open rate garbage, right? And if it even gets to your inbox. But, you know, I look at it and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a newsletter going. And then I'm like, I can't do this newsletter crap. Like, who wants to read a damn newsletter? People don't even want to read anymore. Their attention spans are so low, you know? And then, so I'm going down the list and I'm like, you know what? This podcast. And one of my podcast inspirations for sure is Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan was doing podcasts when the shit was not popular.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, and now you're hearing Gary V preach it, you know, audio, Alexa, all these things, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's right, because, and I'm telling you this, so this is my question to you, and this is going to be such a fucking good question. Sorry, iTunes and Google Play, but okay, I'm going to tell you this why. You do YouTube.
Yeah.
Now you're getting great success with YouTube. In no way am I going to say right now that video and YouTube, like, I'm not going to even say podcast is as big. I believe in podcasts because there's a lot of numbers. I mean, lots of people listen to podcasts, but it's not YouTube and video yet. Now, let's say you wake up tomorrow morning and the world says, you know what, Glenn, I'm driving to work and I don't have Wi-Fi at the gym and I can't view your videos as much because it's taking up data and I have to visually view the video.
Yeah.
Now, the number one thing, and you're a podcaster too, so I know you're already hitting the stone, but you know this, like, audio, you can download it. You can listen to this. People can listen to us in the most weirdest, like, positions ever. They don't even need the internet. They can download it and it's on their phone and it's good to go. Now, for you, where do you see podcasting, so just completely taking in media's audio, as opposed to visual? Okay. And for me, forever, video is always king. Like, I'm a visual person. I love to see and I love to hear. But think about just think about your messaging. If you had to say, do you want your audience to see you, or do you want them to hear you? Really think about this. It's actually a really great question.
Yeah.
Like, if you had to pick one, where would you go?
For sure, I would definitely go video. And in my case, because of, well, actually, in my business and what I do, as far as like going out, sourcing, all that, it kind of has like this entertainment part of it that I feel like you kind of have to visually see what I'm doing, where I'm at, and where I'm going. But as far as the podcasts go, so currently, I mean, like you said, I'm doing a podcast, but it is with a partner. We're only talking about one specific niche. But I've already kind of got a game plan on getting my own podcast, doing my own thing. Yeah. And I totally agree with you, though, because podcasts, especially even when I'm here, like I'm listing stuff on eBay, listing stuff on Amazon, I just like listening to podcasts more than music because I want to get in as much information, anything to help me grow as possible. Personally, I would go video because that's what I've been doing. Yeah. But I mean, podcasts, it's definitely, even right now that it's popular, it's still very early in the game. And I think a lot of people get stuck with that, with like, well, there's so many YouTubers out there, I'm never going to get seen. There's so many podcasts, no one's ever going to hear me. They go in with this like negative mindset.
You know what? No, it's not even that. It's not even that, Glenn. Listen, as human beings, we're binarily flawed, man. We're messed up people. Like, but you know, it's true, right? I mean, I go back to Gary because what he says is very practical, but he's right. When people start complaining that they got to wake up and they got to live life, the chances of you being born are like so dramatic. You know what I mean? Like you should be thankful for living. But one thing it's interesting, and I'm taking you somewhere that's gonna. I want to give people a good perspective on you because I've watched a lot of your videos and I've listened to a lot of your stuff, and I'm like, I got to get something else from Glen.
Okay.
But listening to your own thesis, you said, I'll do video, but even when I'm sourcing my own stuff, I'm listening to podcasts. So me directly coming at you saying, well, Glen, how can you be a better Glen? I would tell you, dude, take that one statement, get off of this podcast when you do, and like write it down because you just double thesis yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
You said when I'm sourcing, I'm listening to podcasts because I want to get better. But in the beginning of the interview, you said, yo, man, I want to go and speak to people, to college students, because I want to get my point across. You see, like, and I don't have a point to this, but I guess what I'm saying is, it's just, I don't know, you know, it's an interesting world out there. Like, there's so much information being thrown at you that even when you're trying to like dissect and push it out yourself, it's just always like, we can do one step better.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the way I felt with this. Like, oh man, it's like when I started doing the YouTube videos and I was doing eBay, but I was like, you know what? I know that I can get a podcast in here. We started doing a weekly podcast. You know what? I know that I can do this merch thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw this in there. It's almost like I kind of like not necessarily mastered one, but I felt comfortable enough. Okay, cool. And once I feel kind of comfortable, I know I need to add something new to my plate. Like I feel like comfortable isn't anything good. I need to feel uncomfortable. I need to make sure that things are happening so that I know that I'm growing, I'm doing things that I like. And that's kind of like one thing though, like, of course I love Gary, but I don't agree with every single thing that he says because I know that people say you need to go all in on one thing. And to an extent, I mean, it just depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you're going in on one thing, are you doing the necessary steps to grow that one thing? I mean, businesses change all the time and you need to know what you're doing, and not everything's just going to stay the same if you go all in on one thing. And a lot of people think maybe, oh, it's cool now, it's always going to be like that, and that's not necessarily true. So in my case, especially like trying to be creative and do things, you know, having that design background, I just like to do video and editing and designing different shirts and logos and stuff. And for me, it's like, okay, cool. I felt comfortable with this. I like it. I like doing it. I know how to, you know, keep it maintained. I think it's cool. I can fall back on it if I ever really need to. Like if another one just fails completely or goes out, or, you know, we're also like at YouTube's mercy. You know what I mean? Like,
but dude,
same thing with iTunes.
But look at the monetization on YouTube, man. They keep trying to pay less.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You know,
they try to pay less and less.
Didn't they just release another monetization type format that, because I heard a lot of people were kind of complaining about that. That's a whole nother show anyway, but.
Yeah, I think it was only like 2 or 3 months ago. And it's funny because there's other people that I've watched and even some people that I know, and they're like, honestly, man, like if this pay cut goes and I can't make money, I'm not going to do YouTube anymore. And I was like, wow, so it really was about the money. Like you didn't care to help people. You didn't care to grow a brand. You didn't care to get your name out there. You just wanted to make money off of ads. Well, the ads aren't going to be there forever. And listen, people are
I'm going to tell you this, okay? Back into the going all in. I think people get misconstrued on that. People that go all into one thing, if you put all your chips in a basket, you're stupid. I'm sorry. Straight the fuck up. You're stupid. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. When somebody says go all in, like if I tell you to go jump off the bridge right now, don't go jump off the bridge because like we got to be practical here. But what I mean is when people say go all in, my interpretation of it is this: go all into yourself. So maybe Glen wakes up today and he's like he's crazy at reselling eBay, Amazon, and you're doing all these things. But maybe somewhere in that little sourcing, while you were actually listening to the podcast that you double thesised, you say, I'm actually going, like, I just heard something that was said, and you're going to go to the left. Like, going all in is about self growth. It's the path is always going to be changing, and for you to like, let's say that what you're doing right now kind of plateaus or something happens. You as a good business person, you need to learn how to pivot. Because you know that if something's not working, I mean, you're not going to keep doing that. Like either you make a change or you pivot.
Yeah,
but you can't be stuck. You can't be stuck on stupid in terms of like the we're like the wheels are spinning, right? I'm trying to lose weight, but I'm on the treadmill eating a cheeseburger. I'm trying to lose weight, but I'm on the treadmill eating a cheeseburger, right? like it's just a level of common sense to that, right? Let me ask you one question.
Okay,
what matters more, being liked or being respected?
Definitely being respected. If you respect me and my work, and that's totally important to me. As far as liked, I really don't care. I guess people like or don't like, and that's what comes with like YouTube. Because I didn't even once I start getting some of these troll comments and other random stuff in there, I was like, cool, blow it off. Like I don't even feel like they're even worth responding to and feeding. These people that are going to send you stuff and people. I think also that's another fear for people like. What are they going to say about me? Are they going to like me or not like me? What are they going to tell me? What if they tell me something completely rude, that I'm ugly or fat or whatever? And to me, that just like completely bounces off of me, and I just don't have that. I guess I just don't really care in that sense to really like, oh yeah, cool, any of that to respond and feed those people. And talking about pivoting too, that's what happened with like public speaking. I had never done public speaking. I've never done, even like in high school, I've never done any plays or like, I don't know, some type of anything to get on the mic. I was completely different than that. YouTube kind of broke me out of that. And talking to the camera felt like I was talking to people. And yeah, it felt stupid, but I got like more self-confidence in it too. And it really, really helped me kind of break out of that shell. And so doing public speaking, I mean, I've only done like 2 or 3 gigs so far. I'm really, really just starting out. But I didn't really feel like that nervousness that I would have when I was way younger and caring, I guess, what people are they going to laugh at me? What am I doing? Things like that. I didn't have that care anymore. And so when I went up, I felt super comfortable. And even like my own family, I was talking to my parents, they're like, I never would have thought that you would have gone up to speak to people in different, smaller crowds, and the crowd kind of grows and just talking to people, relating to people, because I was never like that in high school or even grade school. None of that.
It makes me happy to know there's people like you in the world. It really does. I think, and it makes me further happy that you're actually, you're not just, I always say like to live a life that's not shared is just such a pointless life. Like, it's like somebody that, I guess the biggest thing, like I think I'm an old soul in the sense, like, have you ever been over to Europe?
No,
Been to Europe, man. I mean, that's one thing, man. You spent $10,000. You went to New York to meet Gary. You need to now take another $10,000. Take your wife.
Go to Europe.
I promise you guys will definitely have a child in Europe. It is sexy, it is romantic. But take another $10,000, travel, because man, I think if you're in business, like you got to go to Europe. You got to get on a different continent. The reason I say this is, I can't speak for US, even though I lived there for a little bit playing ball, but we are still North America. So I feel that we consume a lot. We want, like, it's all this material crap, consuming. There's so many damn people in Europe that they don't have the space to consume. So when you go to their pads or you go to their condos, it's smaller. Everything is very like what they have is what they need. What they have is of good quality. And I think that, it just changes that. And I know minimalism is kind of like a big word now, but truly it's just having what you need, which segues into my next question. Digital marketing, you're on the internet, you're doing all these things. The new wave of the entrepreneurs are rock stars. All this stuff, right? Now, you dress. I want to talk about dress code. So if you look at Gary, if you look at Casey Knight, if you look at anybody now, even people that are making millions and billions. I mean, the suit and tie thing is, in some ways gone. So what you talk about branding? What you wear is a direct reflection of who you are in terms of branding. Whether you agree or not, that's the truth because other people's perceptions of you are their reality, point blank. So what is the deal with people wearing T-shirts, jeans? Mark Zuckerberg wears the same thing. Steve Jobs wore the same thing every day. Is this a fashion statement for people who are smart and doing the internet thing, or are we actually being unique and casual, or is this something that we're trying to do? Meaning, are we actually being authentic? Is the hipster really a hipster, or are they trying to be a hipster?
Well, that's a good question. And for me, I felt like when I worked at the university, we had strict dress code, slacks, tie, all of that stuff. And I would tell people this all the time, like, it felt good. I felt important and I was doing stuff. But in reality, like, I wasn't. I put on the part as far as wearing this stuff because that's what they want us to wear. And yeah, it felt good. And people, you go to different places, different restaurants, or we'd even go to lunch, different clients and stuff. They're like, oh, where do you work? What do you do? And it's totally different. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I can get used to this. But in deep down, I was like, man, I'm not doing crap with my life and what I'm doing. And I don't even have money, and I'm buying this stuff and wearing all this cool stuff because that's what I needed to do.
And adding into that debt too. It's adding into that debt.
Oh yeah, exactly. And buying, these like vests and suits and stuff. And then when I was done, I was like, I get to be me. I get to be comfortable and wear whatever the hell I want to wear. And that's part of like, who I am, what I want to do. And I was like, if I want to just wear a t-shirt today, cool, I'm just going to do that. And so that's what kind of just kept it on. And I've never really changed after that. And even in my videos, I don't think I'm wearing any of that stuff that I kind of used to wear.
So yeah, I mean, I wonder that, Gary in one of his videos, somebody had asked him that too, like, how come you dress so casual? And then we noticed that your environment, because they're pretty casual there, right? Like runners and just chilling. So, and I think he said something to the tune of, I don't really judge somebody by what they wear. It's how they can execute. Like, basically it's, what's your skill set at? But a lot of people, I mean, as human beings, we're trained to judge you before we even know much about you, right?
I know. Mm-hmm.
So do you ever feel like for your brand, that's a hindrance or that's actually a really good thing?
I think it's a really good thing because even the person, people that I've met in person, I'm wearing the same clothes or whatever. And they're just kind of like, oh, cool. He's a very relatable person. I can definitely do this too if I wanted to build a brand, build a channel, do a podcast, sell online. He's very relatable. I trust him, authentic person. And even some of these people that I've met, they're like, I've met some like the rudest people from YouTube. They have a huge head. They think they're all that. Yeah. They want to talk all this stuff and all the things they've done. And then, once they're gone, they're gone. You never hear from them again. They're not relatable. I even like to, send, hey, how's so-and-so doing? Like, remember when we talked about, in Phoenix or in Dallas, you said you were going to do this. Are you doing it? Catching up with people and seeing what they're doing now. And they could trust me and talk to me. And I think that kind of goes a long way, and not just, show being some type of like showboat or anything like that. I kind of felt like that at the university, and I was completely not.
For a lot of my listeners, again, they're in the automotive sector. The automotive sector is interesting right now because, people are, you have the manufacturer, they build the car, then the car goes to the dealership, is sold to the consumer like you, right? Mm-hmm. But then you have the salespeople, car dealerships, and I'm pretty sure in the U.S. it's the same thing. They're not like, if you ask the average person on the street what their view is of a car dealership, it's not the best. Yeah. But a lot of the people who are in the industry now, especially the salespeople, are trying to take, kind of a little bit more onus and really cultivating their own personal brand. So you have people that utilize YouTube for car walk around videos or, demonstrations or just like, customer testimonials, basic things, but trying to put themselves, and say, instead of like the dealership, it's Ryan at the dealership. How does some of the, like, if we look at this transferability of the skills that you've learned in, doing the eBay, doing the Amazon, cultivating an audience on, YouTube, in terms of ethos, how do you think you could take those skills? And I guess I'm asking you based on you kind of almost giving advice to people who are listening, basically just saying, regardless of you working in an institution or like you said, working at the university, wearing a suit and tie, what can, like, do you think, first of all, do you think it's important that they start to invest in their personal brand? And then number two is, if they choose to do that, how can they, and how do you think that benefits them in the long game?
Those are some solid questions.
Yeah.
And in this case, if you're in college or if you're a car salesman, anything like that, I would definitely build up a personal brand. And you always will have that personal brand, whether something goes out of business or not. I mean, if you have your own website, you're doing your own thing. There's people that will go and buy something from you because they trust in you and they're part of your following and they want to go wherever you go. So in this case, I think, for example, like if I was a car salesman, I would give straight up honest reviews. If some cars suck for a certain reason, I'm going to tell you why they suck. Now, I'm not going to go off and tell you every single reason why I feel this car is the best. This car is the best. This car is the best. It's like, I get it. You know, you want to sell me a car, but go down to like the nitty gritty on why I should get this car. Why is this car good or not? Why, what are the huge differences? If you're doing car, reviews or test drive reviews, things like that, I think can really help people, because if they're online, they're searching for that car. Oh, you know what? I really trust this dude. He said that, it doesn't get good mileage because of this and this and this reasons why. And I really trust his word on it. But this car, though, is really, really popular and it does really good on this and this and this. And you go on. People love honesty. You're being authentic and you're just giving them the truth on how you feel about these certain products. And I think that definitely go a long way, and doing honest reviews on certain things. And I've even talked to a guy at a conference that he does, reviews on computers and tablets, smartphones and things. And people have told him, like, I want to give, I'll give you this tablet to review, but it has to be a great review. And he's like, well, I can't guarantee that. I'm going to do an honest review, and if your tablet sucks, I'm going to let everybody know that it does suck. So people, and some people are like, all right, well, I kind of do like that honesty part. I'm going to give it to you. I have confidence in my own product. And sure enough, they'll give it to him. He does a review, tons of views, and more people are sending him more items to do an honest review. And he's told other clients too, hey, this is like a subpar tablet. This is what I would work on.
Yeah.
And then they kind of follow suit, like, oh, that is true. Designers do need this. People that work in this certain sector do need this too. That's great, valuable information for me and my product. So that's personally how I would do it.
You know what? It's interesting because you just basically described, like, you could go and basically take it into any industry and transfer it, just because, I think it speaks to how important the internet is. And you're right. That's why I do like the branding. I like the personal brand. And, it's like, even, I look at, hey, I have Glen Zubia, and that is the brand, and you might own a few brands, which is Hustler Hacks and whatnot. But I guess, it's really cool. Do you do much influencer marketing? Like, are you working with any brands? Do they reach out to you at all?
I've had some brands contact me on, it's kind of funny, on like different watches and stuff. Oh. I don't even wear a watch. I'm not really even like a watch guy, but I had two different like main influencer type of companies. They have a really good following too. Hey, we have this watch. You can pick out the watch of your choosing. Yeah. They're $500 plus, $600 plus dollars. Okay, cool. And then in return, kind of like going back and forth, then I mention them on my YouTube channel. Yeah. And of course on Instagram. And I do the same thing. That kind of what I've learned from Gary is just being true to myself. And I'm like, well, $500. I mean, to tell you the truth, it's not like a whole lot of money compared to what I could do with my brand wise. And I really don't want to shove, this fake commercial to my to my subscribers. Yeah. And if there's something that I really truly believe in, products that I use, definitely. I mean, I'm all for it because I know that it's something that I believe in, and it can also help my, subscribers. But if it's something that it's totally out there, doesn't really have anything to do with my channel, I'm like, I'm not going to accept it or trade anything like that. It has to be something that could really be valuable and really fall into what I'm doing.
That's awesome, man. Platforming, in the marketing world, we call it platforming, whether it's Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. 3 phases, 3 stages of platforming, right? Traction, maintaining, expansion. Which one do you think is the hardest?
Oh, man.
Traction, maintaining, expansion.
I would probably say traction.
Okay.
I think that oh man, people really believe in the overnight success, and everything's so easy to do, and building subscribers or followers and everything. And then once they're actually out there, you're like, oh crap, this is tough. And I know people that buy followers, buy subscribers. I'm like, come on, man. You're not, you can tell with someone having, their comments, their likes, their views. You're not hiding anything from the people that can really tell between a real and fake follower or subscriber.
100%.
I think just getting off those first steps and gaining traction, I think is a lot harder in the beginning.
And what steps do you take other than, like, I know you have comments on your videos and stuff. What steps do you take? Let me give you a scenario here. Maybe I can give you some of value right now, to be honest.
Okay, cool.
Let's say you took 5 of your comments on your videos. Let's say you take, I don't know, let's say 6 and make it even number. You take 3 of your shittiest comments that, but they're not like spammers, like they're actual people just saying whatever, haters, whatever you want to call it. Then you take 3 comments that are good. You go and look up those 6 people and you look them up in Instagram, Snapchat, and you follow them and you send them a message either way and you say, thanks so much for viewing my video. Regardless of your comment, I just can't thank you enough. Do you do steps like that to take the YouTube experience that much more? Like, for instance, I have like for my following, because I do a lot of, like, I go on TV and stuff like that, and I have a good brand. So I get a lot of people that will reach out, and I get lots of messages and stuff like that. And I have to filter out, because some of them I can tell, like, people always messaging, like asking for something, or not ever saying, like, not really ever giving you value. Like, hey, Ryan, I really like to do this. And like, I'm like, okay, cool, man. But like, I mean, my time's valuable too. So like, how can we, you know what I mean? So, but at the same token, it's like, I will go to my way. And I will always deploy this. I will always deploy humility in everything for the time, whether I'm 0 or I'm a zillionaire. I don't care. I'll always deploy humility. So I will go on my Instagram and I'll take my followers and I'll just do this like maybe once, twice a week. And I will just go. I will literally, like, when you kind of scroll up on your phone and you go to followers, I'll just scroll it like almost like a wheel. I'll put my finger on a random follower. And if they're in my city, I'll ask them to go for lunch.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And it's been, so I call it Lunch with Ryan. And I've went for lunch with everybody from like police officers to, like we had a local celebrity to like just crazy. And then for the other people, I'll just simply like click on their profile, right? And go through their pictures, try to get a sense of who they are and send them something like genuinely honest. And like, and I guess my pet peeve on this is, I'll send a lot of people messages, especially people that are like going on about building a following and it's hard and this and that. And I'll message them and some people don't even message me back. So I'm like, what the? So they're like, Ryan, how can we get to where you are? And I'll message the same damn person that said that to me, and then they won't message me back. Like, they don't want to put in the work. So I'm just like, what the hell? But do you do anything that you feel can emphasize your relationship with your audience that much? Like, do you do anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Today I had like a follower and she's been following me for quite a while now. And she even started her own channel. And she was like, Glenn, I think I found this cool thing, that she's been kind of working on and sourcing and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I checked out her channel, left a comment, everything. And, and I really want to see what my subscribers are doing. That's totally different from the people that are like, hey, Glenn, give me free shoes. Hey, Glenn, I just uploaded a video. Go watch it now. I'm like, who are you to tell me what to do?
You're like, okay, I'll go do that.
Oh, yeah, let me go do that and do everything. But as far as the people that follow me, they've seen different videos and steps and growth that I've taken. I definitely want to see what they're doing, how I can kind of help them too. And I've had a guy that, I had a local meetup. Oh. And I had a guy that he was like, I'm not really selling a whole lot right now. I don't know if I can, I'm kind of shy. I don't think I can do a lot of, I guess give a lot of value back. I don't know if I really want to meet up. I mean, it's just I'm not really that type of person.
Yeah.
And I told him, you know what? Cool. When I get back, from the other trip I was doing, when I get back, let's go to lunch, just me and you.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
You know what I mean? Ask whatever questions you want, anything that I can do to help you. But I totally get it. Like, if you're not that type of person that wants to talk with other people and maybe that's just not you, cool. But you follow my channel, you subscribe, you watch my videos, and this guy leaves a comment almost like on every video. And it's really, good comments too that I can definitely use. And I was like, well, let's go to lunch, just me and you. So now that I got back, I need to definitely reach out to him so we can go. And I think doing those little things definitely goes a long way.
Tell him to listen to the podcast. This will be at 1 hour and 20 minutes and 46 seconds. You can be like, dude, I gave you a shout out on the podcast. What's his name, man? Give him a shout out. What's his name? What's his handle?
Gabriel Valles is his name. So that's a shout out for Gabe, Gabe, and then Valles, Valles.
Okay,
is his name.
And is he on Instagram? Do you know?
I don't think he's on Instagram. I think he's just on YouTube and he has. Eh? Yeah, he has a couple of videos too, and I left comments on his videos, and
that's cool.
He's barely starting out, and he's like, "Glenn, that means a lot that you left a comment," and I'm like, "You follow me, like, of course man. I care about."
That's cool. That's cool. No, that's cool. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up in a pretty quick here, but Gary V said one quote. It kind of stuck out on me. I want to see if you. Because we're talking about you meeting Gary V, so I'm like, I got to tie this in. He said, okay. I don't have all successes. I just don't respect my losses.
Okay.
So somebody basically said to him, like, how do you deal with rejection? That's like a number one question he gets asked all the time. How do you deal with rejection? How do you deal with rejection? Right. And he's like, not all of my like endeavors are success. I just don't respect my losses. Yeah. And I'm just like, interesting. Like, if we dissect that, like, do you agree with that statement, or like in terms of yourself, or like what's your interpretation of that?
I actually do agree with it, because there's a lot of things that happen. I guess like business wise that I actually haven't really talked about on the channel. But I actually started a like t-shirt company with me, my brother, and my friend, longtime friend. And we went to the bank. We got $1,000. And that was like our initial loan. And we're like, how can we kind of like, this is like a weird moment too, to where not everybody was doing YouTube. Instagram wasn't even around. It was kind of like a weird time. But I knew that I wanted to do this. And I had the design background to design t-shirts. And it just totally failed. Like we had no clue what we were doing. Yeah, we had the $1,000 loan, which wasn't a huge deal for me because, it wasn't too bad to pay back down the road. But
sure.
I have a bunch of t-shirts that are sitting in my parents', I guess, in their storage shed that will probably not ever really see daylight.
What kind of t-shirts are these? What kind of t-shirts are they?
So I started to like incorporate like, my brother. During the time I was kind of like more like a wrestling fan, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, all these things. And, you can't really do a bunch of like different trademark things, of course, trademark names, all of that. No. So we did. Yeah, totally stay away from it, which we didn't have any of that. But you really got to see how hard it was to build a brand, period.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that I don't think we were really prepared for at all.
Yeah.
And I had the design background, which helped. But down the road, now that I'm doing t-shirts for Amazon, definitely helped me get to that point to be way more comfortable with it. But that was like one of the failures that I was like, you know what? I spent $1,000. It didn't work out. We have a bunch of t-shirts just sitting there. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find out what I can do and what I do, what I am good at, what I love doing. And we just were not prepared for something. My brother was still in college. My friend was working full time. He didn't really have a lot of time and effort to really put into it with the things that he was kind of doing. So it just did not happen. We failed. But I learned from it, and then now it's really helping me building a brand and working on t-shirt designs, learning more about design and what I can and cannot do, and do that with trademarks and all those issues. And it really helped me, but at the same time, it's probably why I totally kind of forgot about it too until now when you're like, hey, what about these things I've failed at? That was one that I definitely failed at.
Well, if you're ever bored, go grab a t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Design the Ryan Holt show on it. Send me the t-shirt. Man, I'll show you so much love. It'll be unfathomable. And if you don't want to use a new t-shirt, go use your sourcing skills while you're listening to my podcast. Buy the t-shirt for $2. Come back, do the design. Send it out. Send me a direct message. I'll send you my mailing address, and then we'll go from there, man. Oh, Have you had any weird fan mail?
Weird fan mail.
I had some fan mail from this podcast, and you're going to be the 16th episode. I'm not surprised because we have really good numbers in terms of downloads and stuff, but I had somebody message me and they're like, it was kind of creepy at first because like I'll get people that offer, like I get influencer stuff. So I've had like companies send me hats and I've had them send me jewelry and I've had free trips and stuff like that. But, I had this one person and they're like, I want to mail it. So I got it sent to the P.O. box. I'm not giving you my damn house, right? And because you're going to Google Earth that crap, you'll be looking at my front door, right? So, it was interesting. And they made me a mural of nice. It was interesting. Like they went and made a mural of my logo and then took a statement that I actually said on my podcast and put like a quote around it. And I'm telling you, I was so like, it's so true. Like I'll go to Gary again because he's right. Like it's not about how much it costs at all. It's like a relationship, right? Your wife will say, yo, I don't care if you buy me a diamond, treat me great. Just treat me great. Mm-hmm. And, I just sat there and I'm like, somebody literally had to design this. Somebody literally had to take the time to ship it. It just is amazing, right? It's like if you send me something and you resold me as an eBay seller and you put a handwritten note, hey, Ryan, thanks for your purchase. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. It's just the personal touches.
I've had different people like, invite me over or, hey, if you're traveling, you can spend the night here or stay here or, stuff like that. Yeah. And as far as like fan stuff, they've sent me, I sell a lot of like jerseys or shoes and things. And they've sent me jerseys. They've sent me shoes and different stuff that they've gone out and sourcing and finding stuff. People have bought me lunch and things like that. I haven't got any artwork, but I'm totally down for artwork. So any subscribers out there that are some artists, totally down for that. Yeah. See, now we're being takers. We're like, yo, and I'm totally down for this. You can send me that. And here's another one. I have my own action figure. So I went to the studio. It's got like 400 DSLR cameras. It literally looks like, I'll call it like an upright version of a tanning bed because it was like this dome. But then inside it was like 400 prefixed holes of like DSLR cameras. Yeah, and it takes like every inch of your body. And then basically they called me and said, hey, come pick it up. And it's like every divot. And they even included an iPhone in my left hand because the guy's like, you're always on your phone. And it's like that's awesome. And the detail on the phone, it's superimposed with like my selfie. So it shows my face taking a selfie. But no, it's just, it's just crazy to me. Like, and I know you get these all the time, but you get, a lot of random messages saying, hey, thanks, Glenn, so much for putting out the content, or hey, this really like inspired me. And I get a lot of that. And it's what's amazing me is like from all over the world. Like, I just look at this internet connection. I look at the phone and I'm like, you have access to the world. Exactly.
Anyways, I'm going to give you the last 90 seconds or 2 minutes. Don't be shy. Anything you want to say, I'll let you plug at the end. But is there anything else you'd want to say to the listeners? Again, this is business. It's lifestyle, inspiration. It's this podcast is wrapped up all in one. A lot of people that listen, they're either in business or they're trying to do some business, a lot of sport, and just anything you feel like put your stamp on episode 16, man, and do say something that's gonna make you remarkable, man.
For sure, I would definitely say you have to do what you love. You have to search and find that whatever that niche is. And my Instagram doesn't have booty pics or nothing like that, because that's not my niche, but I'm focusing on my niche, and I understand that it's going to take way longer to grow doing that rather than pranks and some other, popular trending things. Go with what you know, do what you love, and I guarantee you can make money from it, and you can help others in the process. Not everybody knows every single thing. You have a talent, you know what that is, and you need to follow that whether it is through podcast, through YouTube, or any other platforms out there, now is the perfect time using the internet. All of the resources are right there. You will find that freedom. You'll find what you love, and everything after that will definitely fall into place.
And I'm going to add on, it takes work, though. That's the huge disclaimer.
Oh, yeah.
It takes a lot of copious amounts of crazy work.
And sorry about that. It takes work.
No, it's cool. And then, Glenn, how can everybody reach out to you on social media and your YouTube channel and everything?
Oh, so YouTube, you can look up Hustler Hacks. You can email me, hustlerhacks1@gmail.com. You can go to my website, hustlerhacks.com, and I have different articles, videos. You can also reach me through there and some of my design work too. And some people have different logos and stuff I've worked on for them. So all of that is there. You can contact me in either or all.
Perfect. I just want to say thank you so much, man, for coming on the show. I think there's a lot to talk about. I think if you're down for it in the future, I'd love to have you back on, because I think you gave me, there's so many things to talk about, but I feel that we had a good conversation. There's a lot of value given. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. I owe a shout out to one special person, Adrian Leong. You are like a diehard listener, and I love you, man, and I promised I would give you a shout out on this podcast. Everyone, thank you for listening to episode 16. My dude, Glen Zubia Jr., killed it on the podcast. Please go on to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, review it. I thank you for all the copious amounts of love. Everything we talked about will be in the show notes, and I hope you can listen. Thank you so much, and peace and love, everybody. Glenn, thank you, man.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.